660 feet of ficus hedge, huh?
There's a ficus banglaensis that's defoliating right now. One of the first things I did when I came here was transplant that, which you can see the photos on the website. Transplanted that to make room for the collected Phoenix reclinata that we put as a centerpiece. And this right here used to be the old entrance. As you can see, we transplanted some of the ficus hedge, changed the entrance to make it more appealing, make the drive in more like an estate. It was kind of cut in half where the entrance used to be, so part of my design was initially to change this, which eventually, our future plans are for some columns, and maybe coral columns here, and a nice gate. Some of the collected things we've done are evident right away, like this 50-year-old tababuya, yellow tababuya tree, which is also called the flowering trumpet tree, something like that. Not sure about the common name. But
so you planted that big tree there, right?
Transplanted that tree just like it is about maybe 2.5 years ago. Never lost a leaf in the transplant. Never shocked a bit. Dug it with a big rock ball, and you can also see the photos of that transplanting online on the website as well.
And so this whole property in the front here used to be kind of a grove of these avocado trees.
Yep,
there was just a bunch of them out here.
It was an avocado grove, and actually was a wild animal farm. They were raising monkeys.
So it was a bunch of avocado trees. Now it's a big, lush, green, grassy property.
We have recently put in these 3 Satakintia palms, and this is ongoing. We're still going to add some drip lines, irrigation to the top, and some ground cover, maybe some different ferns, a couple of cycads, maybe Encephalotus ferox. As you can see, coming up the service entrance is Pedro on the Dixie chopper. We're doing some maintenance here today, so say hi, Pedro. Pedro,
so. Little wall you built there for that.
Yeah, and these collected phoenix came from the side of a nursery. They're hybrid phoenix, probably Canariensis and Sylvestris. And here's the main entrance now, where you see the Phoenix reclinata. We need to do some trimming on that. We got some.
So at one point, this whole round section wasn't here.
Didn't exist.
The tree wasn't there.
No. The tree was brought in, collected. We have some photos of that being done on the website as well, and the construction of the coral rock planter at the bottom. As I said when we were driving in, the ficus banglaensis on the other side of the property.
And again, off to the right here, you got that some palm, a little area where you put a bunch of coconut palm trees in.
Yeah, we wanted to have an island type of setting off, and that's the other side of what we showed you coming in, where the driveway used to be. And so we have a kind of a natural coconut palm.
And you planted this tree here too. What kind of tree is that?
This is a Bolnesia arbora, which is related to the lignum vitae.
All right, Wes, go ahead and tell us a little more about the property here.
Well, as you were asking, this is a Bolnesia arbora starting to flower, yellow flowering trees. We brought that in a 45-gallon container. Planted properly with proper care. It's doing really well. It's native to the lignum vitae. It needs to be trimmed a little bit, but we don't want to wait to do that after the flowering. We put this flagpole in within the last year and constructed a neat base we wrapped in coral. It's still an ongoing project that we're getting ready to continue this walkway with some coral you can see down here.
Just going to turn around and look at this coral round planter that you did. It's really neat.
Get up under there and show the trunks of that phoenix. That's a neat collected phoenix. Phoenix palms are probably my favorite. They do real well in hurricanes, and the collected ones you can pull off things like this, so you can still drive around and not have the trunks interfere. If we were to plant a small one there, we probably wouldn't be able to pull that off. So.
Okay, I see you did a little walkway up here.
Yeah, it's the entrance to the home. It's native keystones cut out of the keys, and we put some Bermuda grass in between there. It's got some fern mixed in, but the stoplight fern. some neat deer head pots that were bought locally at an orchid place here locally. Some neat orchids around this home,
and again over here in that direction.
And then over here, when I got back from China, I was inspired to dig a kind of a sunken garden.
All right, so we're going into the sunken garden.
Come in here and watch. We're doing the maintenance now, so there's some leaves and brown stuff, but the whole theme of this is to accentuate the native coral that we have here. This was all done by hand. Actually, had my hands involved in this and cutting these steps out with hatchets and jackhammers, and you can walk down in, and there's a drain here, some jade rock that needs to be cleaned up. We do periodically come in and pressure clean and try to keep the algae off so it's not too slick. It's about 10 degrees cooler in here. It's a neat place. You can see we carved a bench out here that you can sit in and kind of just enjoy a cold beverage, or just take a look at the...
Play your guitar, maybe, if you got one.
Play your guitar, or take a look at the surroundings. The bamboo was existing. We transplanted a lot of this stuff around, but we're probably 4 or 5 feet down into the bedrock here, native coral rock. It's just like his own little private little jungle here. This is like I said, this bamboo was here. Some of the aeroids and that I brought in from a buddy of mine, the local grower. They do a real good job of collected aeroids and different things, and these things are kind of rare. This big leaf one here is just phenomenal. This one as well. If you get a close up of that leaf, I mean, take a look at that. Take a look at that. Take a look at that. Take a look at that.
That's giant.
That's a really neat plant there. It's the sort of the thing that we're looking for.
Cool.
A lush tropical look, Mike. I mean, it's got a long ways to go, but we're getting there.
All right, let me climb up out of the sunken hole here.
Come in here, and this used to be the driveway. This was the driveway, but now it's, you know...
This used to be the driveway.
Yeah, this is granite rock that I have as a base for the walkway. Excuse me, as you come out, maybe you turn around and you get a good look at where we just came from.
Just came out of the sunken room. Really tropical, awesome little area, man. I'm a guitar player. I'd sure like to have this in my backyard where I can come out and just play my guitar for a couple hours. Maybe meditate, relax.
We brought in this Felicium decepens. This is a Japanese fern tree.
Japanese fern tree.
The buffer, because just out here is the front yard where we were at, but you don't even know you're there. And it's the selection of the, you know, I want to come back, so I don't want to make mistakes in my selection of plants. This used to be Avocado Grove. We brought in a bunch of different rare bamboo. This is like another room off the north side of the home.
Okay, so now we're entering into the bamboo room, which is a neat sunken fireplace. I remember when Wes was working on this.
Some of the bamboo
really
here,
neat, surrounded by bamboo.
Most of the bamboo that
Here, tell us what kind of bamboo.
Well, this is Vulgaris Wallman, which is also known as the Buddha belly. As you can see, the bamboo, it's got kind of a Buddha belly take to it at the base. Kind of a neat one. This was here. We transplanted this on site, and then we added some of the Textilis, the true Textilis, and there's another variety of Textilis, which is another kind of, I would say, on the rare side bamboo. And then in the corner over there is the giant Guadua bamboo. The canes just get enormous, has ferocious thorns on it. There's the Timor Black bamboo, which is really neat. And then this variety was here. I'm not sure, it slipped my mind right now. Golden Hawaiian. There's a couple of other varieties that have slipped my mind right now, but it's completely encompassed by bamboo. We have some more to add. There's a Chungii that died in a young blue Chungii that died in the cold a few years ago, so we're going to replace that one day soon. But as you can see, it's a different kind of grass around the fire pit. It's a functioning fire pit.
Functioning fire pit. What kind of grass is this?
This is a type of Bermuda.
Bermuda?
And I think they call it Celebration.
Go down into the pit.
So here's where we...
So that's where you can roast marshmallows,
yeah,
right?
Well, we could just have a big fire and have a couple of people over.
Or you could fill it with ice and throw a bunch of beers in there, right?
And the bamboo's great protector of wind, so it helps. It's down into the bedrock. all of this all this work was done by myself and a couple of helpers. It took us about a month to do this.
And these coral steps are natural. They're just
cut right out of the rock.
Right out of
that
the
rock
ground.
was here, and we cut the steps around them with jackhammers and axes, and this is a sand basin. As I said, you know, we're doing the maintenance today, so the weeds and stuff will be removed. But a local friend of mine that does awesome stonework did the top of this and did the bull nose of this hardscape here. This is the way we tied it all in, and so you can sit on the outside here if it's a big fire, or you can sit on the inside here if it's a little fire, and you can only really pull this off in the Redlands. I mean, you can do it anywhere. Then we're going to leave through a little path that we
So
did.
you built that little pathway too, right?
All the paths here on this property we did.
You built all the paths on the property.
The rustic, not so manicured look is what we try to achieve here. We do a real good job of that. Not to be confused with lack of maintenance. Which we're a good gardener, you're never done.
So coming around the back side of the house to the back here, it's got some really neat things that he laid out here.
Hey Mike.
Yep.
This is another patio we did at a Keystone.
Keystone patio?
And with the zoysia grass in between the...
Zoysia grass?
Zoysia grass. This is a type of zoysia grass in between the Keystone. Some Laquala grandis. It's a neat Laquala that suffered from the cold a year ago. These giant Vicia Montgomeryanas were here. So we did all of this kind of around the existing palms and created this little courtyard. The Crocothrinax crenita, otherwise known as Old Man Palm, that was here. The cycads were here, and you can see where we need to do some pressure cleaning and a little bit of additional maintenance. But also on the website, you can probably see the before and after pictures. The Cabata palm was here. On that guy, that's right up our alley. That's our style of landscaping with texture and natural colors, greens and yellows and stuff, instead of just throwing a bunch of...
Lots of property here, lots of room to work with, that's for sure.
And if you look back at the at the home and get an idea, see, it's a neat place, real neat place. You got some natives, but we got some tropicals. We got Livistona rotundifolia here, and we transplanted a couple more over here. These are Livistona rotundifolias, otherwise known, I believe they call them the ribbon palm. Maybe that's another type of Livistona. Yeah, and over here in the future plans would be a waterfall, maybe down into the aquifer that we're planning on doing. This is just a neat place. On this wall here, we had some custom mirrors made to kind of give you this.
Through the camera, it looks like just more property, but it's a mirror on the wall.
It's a little trick. This is the sort of thing that we do. Landscaping isn't all about just plants and trees and flowers. It's, you know, the hardscapes and the vision, and this is like a little guest cottage here. So this path I also did at a Keystone.
Another Keystone path.
Kind of stops here because
mirrors on the wall.
We're going to be doing the water feature out here one day. So here, I'll stand out here and I'll show you.
So out here, you're planning on maybe doing a waterfall one day.
It's got a nice heterospathe here already. This is a nice palm, the heterospathe.
Heterospathe.
We have some Crocothrinax in here, which is some people confuse with the thatch palm. Some awesome haliconias. But this area here with the coral wall that was existing, that was built in the 60s, that backdrop will be the backdrop of our future waterfall.
So we're going to have a future waterfall in here.
Where I'm standing will be the waterfall and / bridges and so on.
Waterways, bridges, waterfalls. Sounds good.
Bounded by an orchid house. And
with an orchid house on the side. Well, we'll be back to take video of that when it's done, that's for sure.
The Ficus banglaensis that I talked to you about in the beginning, that's defoliating right now. This guy right here would be the kind of the outside edge of our water feature. So if you walked back here and looked back at the home, you'd get an idea of where I plan on doing this whole area dedicated to an awesome water feature.
So one day in the future we'll see a waterfall with little snaky rivers with fish in it going around here.
And I appreciate your help, Mike.
All right, Wes, thank you for the tour. Beautiful property, great job.
Thanks.
Wes, one more thing as we're walking out here on the side of the house. What do you have here?
This is a little bit of a different sable. I believe it's Dominicensis, if I said that right. Excuse me if I didn't. But what we've done, this is a palm that's existing on the property, as I've mentioned before, that we transplant these things.
So you transplanted that palm from another part of the property.
We're getting ready to transplant it, Mike, and so what we've done is we've root pruned it and we've properly wrapped it and filled it back in, and we irrigate it so that when we transplant it, we have new roots and it doesn't miss a beat, because it's in the way of future plans I have designed there and coral structures. As you come back out around the front,
okay, here's the beautiful flagpole again that you did.
Coral work that we did. We wrapped the base of this flagpole. If you zoom in on that, you see the travertine that we put on the top. Just a really neat hardscape, as opposed to just a flagpole.
Now that's awesome that as a landscaper you not only do, you know, lawn maintenance and transferring trees and putting trees in, but you do keystone walkways and pathways and sunken coral holes and flagpoles.
See how we put a dedication in the middle of this?
Oh yeah, that's neat.
Get an idea of kind of
dedication
right down to the last detail, you know.
Which says, "For the many who have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom." Abraham Lincoln, November 1864. And here's that big anchor we've seen on your website that was moved and located to this particular property. That's neat.
This was found off of Key West, Florida. 17th century ship anchor.
17th century ship anchor.
And it weighed about 1,600 pounds.
1,600 pounds. And you had it picked up and delivered from Key West to this property here in Homestead.
Yep, and we did that as the homeowner here is into nautical kind of collected things like that. It's
very neat. The Palm Island here.
It goes good with the coconuts. Yeah, on the way out you can see how I kind of designed the road so that we were able to capitalize on the length of the property. It's 5-acre property, 660 feet by 330 feet wide, and I wanted to have this kind of meandering road into the estate. It's kind of the way I think of it, as an estate as opposed to a yard. And these collected phoenix, 6 of them, 3 on each side, and not so symmetrical. They're different sizes. Kind of made this elevated berm here, and we put coral in front of that. These designs are all done by me. Most of them are jotted down and kind of transferred onto a proposal with minimal. It's a lot of trust, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, and something like this, because I'm not an architect, but I am a very good designer. At least I like to think I am. So.
Yeah. Well, once again, beautiful tour, man.
Thanks, buddy.